new channel dedicated to everything turf management and lawn care, where I'll be doing things such as product reviews, tips and tricks, fielding questions, and showing you as I renovate my own lawn as well as my other customers. Today, I'd like to share with you a product that's quickly become a staple of my own arsenal here, and that is what you see in front of you, Hydretain. Now, there's obviously a good chance if you're watching this video right now, at some point you've probably seen this on various websites, whether it be a review such as this, or you've been looking for maybe other products like fertilizers, and you've come across this product and seen the statement about you can reduce your overall watering by up to 50%. Now, let's be honest, that sounds like a huge claim, and probably a lot of you, again, if you're watching this, have been in a situation where you really wanted to try it out, but you just couldn't get yourself to pull the trigger. And frankly, I was one of those people, and it took until this summer where I'm at, which is in zone 4B, where we just had an ungodly hot summer with very little rain. And each month when I would get my water bill, I talked to my wife and we decided, look, I've got to try something else. And it's very rare that I come across a product that I want to tell everyone about, that I walk around my own neighborhood and see brown spots and say, look, I might have something to help you out. And that's actually exactly what I'm doing right now for a couple of my own lawn renovations here in the neighborhood. So let's just quickly talk a little bit about what Hydretain is. Now, I won't pretend for even a minute to pretend that I understand any of this chemistry, which I do not. But for those of you who are familiar with wetting agents, this is different from that. So as a part of normal pesticide, herbicide spraying, oftentimes, particularly in post-emergent sprayings, we'll be using some type of like a non-ionic surfactant. What makes Hydretain different is in the overall chemistry and how it works. So the idea behind Hydretain and how it can reduce the amount that you need to water is that it penetrates deep in the soil as a root zone soil management product. And what it does is it takes the natural water molecules from humidity that is in the air and helps trap that back in the soil. Now, the reason that this is important, and sometimes from conversations I've had with people, even just around my own neighborhood, is you see always people that water. And the reality is that we're not watering to water the grass itself. We're primarily watering to get deep and infrequently so that we can get a moist soil. We don't want wet soil, we don't want dry soil, we want that middle ground. Because what moist soil does is it allows for all of the microorganisms, all of your plants, everything to be in an optimal condition where things can germinate, where things can grow, where microbial activity can take place. And so that's where Hydretain really helps out. Today in this video, I will show you how I'm actually using it as a part of helping out my next door neighbor, as well as some of the spots that I've sprayed throughout my yard and how it's really made a difference for me, not only in cutting back on my own water bill, but truthfully in helping even little areas where I'm patching specific areas where my dog has decided to ruin parts of my yard. So follow me along in this video and I'll show you a little bit more about that. A place where I put down some Hydretain, and I do plan to put a little bit more down to help with the germination again, so I don't have to water like 80 times a day during the planting. So again, you know, this was a point in my yard that just gets a lot of direct sunlight, particularly in the middle here. I've had portions of the summer where it's been completely dead, and as you can see, it's still not really where I want it yet. But comparably, if you were to go around this area, I have one of the few yards that isn't 50-60% completely dormant at this point because of the heat. So I just want to point out another test plot area where I have applied the Hydretain. So Hydretain itself, the product, it comes in a couple of different forms. You can buy it in a liquid form or a granular form. Now, I'm personally a fan of spraying the liquids. I have a nice 100-foot hose that I like to bring around my yard, and I also bring to my customers. But for this in particular, you can buy it in the 1 gallon, which is the concentrated formula, or you can buy it in the quart size, which comes with a ready to spray. And for those of you who have not used this sprayer before, I don't know what it is, but man, this thing is awesome. The other alternative for liquids is, for those of you who are DIYers, you can use any of these alternatives like a Chameleon Spray, which admittedly I'll talk about in another video. I don't recommend, it's not my favorite, or the traditional ortho spray, which is probably what most people are familiar with. And if you do decide to use the liquid and you are going to go with one of these sprayers, the typical application is 9 ounces per 1,000. So let me just quickly talk, whether you use the granular form or the liquid form, and how you can use this and how to have success with it. So the key to success with Hydretain is making sure that it is deeply penetrated into the soil. So what you do not want to do, and I can't emphasize this enough because I don't want you to go out there and waste your money, is put this down particularly on when maybe it's rained the night before, or if you have an irrigation system, you've already watered that morning. It's critical that you want to apply this when the soil is already moist. That will help penetrate again into the soil. Don't apply this to dry soil. After you're done applying it, what I like to personally do is just go back through with this, again, awesome sprayer, and continue watering it in just enough so that I can get in the soil. For those of you that have an irrigation system or you just want to water it in, you can look for just anywhere about like a 1/4 inch of water. And another thing, just like a quick tidbit, is you really want to get this penetrated into the soil within an hour, within an hour of getting this down. So one thing I try to do, and I tell others that I'm recommending this to, and I learned this very quickly, is most irrigation systems will run on zones. So if you're gonna run 10 minutes here, 15 minutes here, etc. If you go and you do your whole yard, by the time you might get to like zone 6, 7, 8, 9, however big your yard is, you may have already missed that hour-long window. So I'd recommend, if you can, kind of splitting these applications, maybe depending on the size of your yard. Maybe one day you do your front yard, or maybe one day you do the side of your yard or your backyard. Maybe if you have like a lot of time on a Sunday or something, you do your front yard, take a break. If the soil's still kind of wet, maybe then go and do your backyard and so on. But that's something that I would recommend. So again, you want moist soil to begin with, water it in, whether it's the granular or the liquid, and then you're gonna wanna water it in again to make sure that it really gets deep, deep down into your subsoil so that this product can. All right, so now that we're out in the yard, I'm gonna show you a little bit how to use the Quart end sprayer in particular. Again, as I covered earlier in the video, you can use the Ortho spray, Chameleon Spray, whatever you have. Chapin makes a great one too. And Hydretain also does sell a granular form, but again, I'm personally a big fan of the Quart sprayer. But I just show you a quick example here. So here where I'm at, which is in Iowa, we have had incredible, again, just really, really hot. And my neighbor and I, we actually have basically the same grass structure here. Now, not implying that the whole reason that we have a difference here in our grass color is just because of Hydretain, but I have not been watering and my neighbor has been watering, and you can see really a definitive difference here in the color, while both of us really have the same type of Kentucky bluegrass. So I'm just going to show you quickly how you get this set up on your hose. And really, again, all it does is it just plugs directly into a normal hose here. So right here I have my 100-foot hose and screwed in. So again, it's just really right here, here on the nozzle, plugs directly in. Okay, so now that we have hooked up here, again, using the Quart sprayer, plugs directly again into your hose line here. And it's pretty simple. Again, we have these two right here, water and on, and it just flips, okay? Make sure that when you do turn your water on, that it is set to water, not to on, because otherwise it will start spraying. So I'm gonna go ahead, hooked up, turn the hose on, and you're ready to go. So I'm just fix this up a little bit here, try to do this one-handed. Apologize for the finger there. So once you're ready to go, again, all you have to do is come in here, flip this to on, and when you're ready to turn it off, you just split it back to water. Now, one thing, the caveat on this is that this comes out quick. It's an awesome sprayer. So if you're accustomed to maybe kind of nonchalantly walking around with an Ortho sprayer that you've dialed down to a lower setting, like a 2 or a 3, just keep in mind, like, you might need to pick up the pace a little bit. So let's just show you here. So I'm gonna flip this to on, and here we go. So what you're gonna wanna do while you're applying this is you wanna make, some broad strokes to wherever you're applying it. Again, as you can see how it's coming out here, you wanna make sure you're covering everything. You wanna go too quick, but again, you wanna make sure you're getting everything down, okay? Again, it's really as simple as that. And I'm gonna flip it just to show you. And it's back off, okay? So it's really as easy as that. So the other thing that I do wanna quickly say as far as
this particular sprayer, the Quart that I didn't mention earlier in the video, is that size will cover about 3,500 square feet of yard. So in this particular case, you know, we have almost 10,000 square feet here in my neighbor's yard. So if I was going to use this sprayer, I'm gonna need to refill it a couple times. Whereas the gallon one in particular, I believe it covers close to 20,000 square feet. So just keep in mind, you know, depending on how you plan to use it, how large the lot is, are you gonna cover everything, just some small parts? Make sure to keep that in mind. And the last thing I do, you know, want to point out is, you know, this is not just for your grass. It's not just for lawns. You can use this on trees, shrubs, ornamentals. Make sure that you do follow the application instructions, because they are obviously different, because you're looking more at like caliper inches as opposed to square feet. But I am also currently actively applying it to new trees we have in our yard. We have some hydrangea bushes I'm using it, amongst others. So, you know, this really is something that you can use throughout your yard. But yeah, this is it. So stay tuned to this channel. I will be posting kind of a, you know, before and after here on this plot that I'm going to spray. We're going to get the irrigation system run here to make sure that we drive this really into the soil, and check back in so we can see, prove me right or wrong. Does it work? Is it well as I think it does? I personally do. So anyways, again, thank you for joining me today, and you know, come back to my channel. I'll be posting other videos like this, showing you little tips and tricks around the lawn. So thanks again. Take care.